What's going on, Funnelytics crew? It's Mikkel here. We're here with another expert spotlight, and this time we've got, man, another heavy hitter in the house, another big name, and somebody who has done incredible things, especially in this world. I mean, I love funnels. I don't know if you're a little bit more obsessed or if I am when it comes to funnels, but I have a ton of respect for our guest, Steve Larsen. You know what? I won't even do the introduction. You give everybody your not so humble kind of bio and just tell everybody how you kind of where you're at right now in life. Actually, you're hanging out in St. Louis. You're going to hang out.
Where I actually am at. Yeah, I'm in St. Louis right now.
Nice.
Yeah. My not so humble intro, huh? I don't know, man. It's a lot of stuff that I think through when they say that. I'm proud. I'm really proud of what's happened in the last little bit.
Interesting reflecting back and like twisting it like your not so humble intro, right?
Yeah. I started building funnels a lot when I was in college, and I was doing it for a whole bunch of people, right? Trying to prove to myself and the market that I could build funnels. And with a few tweaks, they started taking off and started blowing up and actually working. And I was like, holy crap, this is nuts, and I got really into it and bootstrapped my way to Funnel Hacking Live.
Nice.
And didn't have any money to get there still. My wife and I were super poor. I was in the Army, I was in college, we had a kid. I mean, his life was crazy busy, man. And
How long?
I'm proud of the fact that I got to Funnel Hacking Live because it was never part of my plan to work at Clickfunnels. That was not like on my radar ever.
Yeah.
But when I got to Funnel Hacking Live, that first one for me in 2016, so not long ago, which is crazy, they offered me, I got 5 job offers.
Wow.
And I was just, sure, I'll go be whatever, proximity's power, I'll just go, be support or something. Let me just get near you guys. And I got there and I thought it was weird they're going to have me meet with Russell personally. And I was freaking out, just trying to not be, I was trying to act like, oh, yes, it's no big deal. I'm just going to sit next to one of my icons for a little bit. Ain't nothing but a thing. It's a we're good, right? And I'm freaking out. And he and I spoke for an hour and a half. And at the end of it, I'm driving away. I'm driving back home. I was literally graduating from college in 2 days. And
wow.
They called me on the way back home, a 6-hour or 5-hour drive home. And they're like, hey, do you want to sit next to Russell and be his funnel builder? And I was like, and my immediate thought was like, you're going to pay me to do that? Yeah, I'd pay you to do that. Right? Like, yeah, totally. And I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to keep up because that's a really intense environment. And, built almost 500 funnels there, did projects I built a lot of funnels for Marcus Lemonis for the show, The Prophet on CNBC. I created the original 2 Comical coaching program, and a lot of millionaires came from that, and a lot of 100,000aires, and people who made money for the first time in their entire life came from that. So the not so humble brag for me, that was a big one. And then I eventually took over an event that he was running called the FAT event, the Funnel Hackathon event, which was meant to get people off the ground, and it was my event. It was tons of fun. So I guess, yeah, not so humble brag. And then in the middle of that, I decided, like, I'm teaching webinars, but I hadn't actually done one. And to me, that felt like heresy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not going to go learn how to lose weight from somebody who's overweight.
Right.
I felt like it started developing this complex in my head. And about 6 months before I left ClickFunnels, I realized I needed to leave ClickFunnels. And it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. And all these people were like, you're an idiot, you're stupid. I cannot believe the level of hate mail I got by leaving ClickFunnels. It was ridiculous. Really? But I was calling my shot, and I left, deciding that I would document everything that I was doing, and it exploded. And I left ClickFunnels with no funnel, no sales message, no product, nothing. And there was no extra revenue stream anywhere. I mean, it was nothing. It was pretty ballsy. I mean, at the time, pregnant wife, 2 kids, mortgage, you know what I mean? It was like, it sounds a little crazy, but I had built literally 500 of these things.
Right.
The previous 2 years to that, and I was so obsessed with it that I felt confident in it, and and it worked. And I've done it multiple times now this year the same process, and it worked, and then got featured in that 30 Days book, which was awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah, so I don't know, that's the condensed version.
How did you end up, so you're one of the coaches on the 2 Comma Club X program.
Yeah.
How did you, so you came back, I guess, to ClickFunnels?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still contracted. I still do a few things for them, fulfillment-wise, for coaching and things like that.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to go run, we're going to start here in about 2-3 weeks. I'm going to go run the One Funnel Away Challenge. It's crazy, man. It's 7,500 people in that challenge now. And I'm the only coach.
Oh, really?
Awesome. Russell filmed a lot of the course material. Julie made the workbook, but they told me that I'm really good at yelling at people without yelling at them. And so they're like, you got to be the guy to go do that. So anyways, that's my role.
Wow.
Is to yell at someone and call them out on their own BS without putting them down emotionally, I guess, too much.
All right, so let's take it back, because I want to dive into the intricacies of, like, you've built 500 funnels, you've built multiple funnels for yourself, and I want to dive into the intricacies of funnel building. And I'm an avid Russell Brunson fan. I've been building funnels myself for a long time, and with Funnelytics, that's the whole reason I built Funnelytics, is because the hardest part of funnels is tracking and analytics and understanding how people flow through things. So that's the reason I built that business. But I want to take it back. I want to take it back all the way to, like, when you discovered the concept of funnels. And because I remember when I discovered it in 2012, I was sitting in this, like, grungy apartment in San Francisco, and I watched Russell's video on .com Secrets X, and he talked about follow-ups and emails, and, like, at the time I was studying, like, SEO and affiliate marketing, and something in my mind just, like, exploded. I was just like, what the?
Oh, I know, like the light bulb went off.
You mean I can follow up with people? Like, I just, and from that point forward, like, head down, that's what I've been kind of focused on. But I want to hear your story. What happened? How did you get in this world? And then how did you end up building 500 funnels?
So my dad actually he's an executive at IBM. So growing up, he's a chief architect for software over there. And his whole role was to fly into companies, Boeing, the military, everything from watches to cars, missiles to, things in people's phones. And what IBM would send him around to go do was, his role was to go in and diagnose the issue, design the software solution, and then fly back home to build the team to build the solution for the customer. And so I grew up just with computers all over the place, thinking that I was going to go be a coder. And because I wouldn't have known this, but, like, the diagrams all over the place, we all draw to represent. I see them on your whiteboard, stuff like that. Like, that was everywhere. Right. Okay. And growing up, that's how it was. And so we had, like, home built networks. I mean, we were a family of nerds. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. So I went to college thinking I was going to be a software guy. When I got to college, though, I realized my brain did not work exactly the same kind of way as my dad's. Right. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Right. And I conceptually understood what's going on, but, like, oh man, I could not handle it. It was like, like chewing on glass, it's just like, this is terrible. I hate this. Like, I can't do this anymore. So I started getting into learning how to build lists, right? And I started following other guys, and it was interesting. I was in this class. I realized I needed to go into marketing, which was, for me, like, the major you went to if you were lazy. I was like, I'm not gonna go do marketing. I was like, marketing's stupid. But marketing's the thing you do when you just want to get easy out of college, right? That was my perception. Which is so wrong.
Like marketing philosophy, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. Recreational education. I was like, oh, anyway. So this very insightful professor told me, he's like, hey, you need to be in marketing. And I was like, no. He's like, seriously, you got the noggin. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went and I tried it. It took a while for him to convince me. And I get into this marketing stuff, and I start learning like crazy. And pretty soon I'm learning more outside the class than in it. and I'm trying to actually start companies. I'm starting actually trying to literally make money. And some of them were like break even and stuff like that, but I was mostly losing money on a lot of them. But I learned enough concepts to start being useful. Well, in one of my classes, this is really where I started discovering the concept of funnels. One of my classes, it was, oh gosh, I hated this class. It was quantitative marketing research. It's like terrible. Oh man, I don't do any of that stuff. But one of the things we had to do is we had to go capture a whole bunch of data so that we could analyze it and learn how markets are swaying. And we had to go talk to people like face to face, like 10 of them. And I was like, screw that. And this other kid and I went and we set up a Google form and drove Facebook ads to it. And that's how we got all this data.
Nice.
And we got more than the rest of the class combined. And it was for Paul Mitchell, the hair, like the Paul Mitchell, which is crazy. And they came to us, they came to the professor and said, we got these issues. Can you guys solve them? They said, we don't know what these two kids are doing, but they're doing something cool. Go hire them. And so we started working with all these Paul Mitchell schools to improve like their online stuff. And I could drive traffic like an animal. I was driving so much traffic, it was crazy. But one day we go to this meeting and this guy's like, oh, you're getting all this traffic, this is amazing. Like, how come it's not translating into more walk-ins into our Paul Mitchell locations? Or how come it's not this? How come it's not that? I was like, well, because of this, because. And I realized that there was this whole area that I was not paying attention to. And I started getting really obsessed over how to make stuff convert on a page. It's like 5 years ago. And I had never thought of that before. We could drive just obscene eyeballs. And I started looking around and I ran into this guy who looked like he was 13 years old. I didn't know if I should trust him. It was Russell Brunson. And I was like, is this guy even like, I don't know. And I started taking his stuff. And I'd get my homework done for college in like 3 hours, and I'd spend the rest of the entire day just working on stuff I was learning from him. And it started working. And I started realizing, like, holy crap, this is legit, And I was in the Army, so I got sent off to some training, and I took the book .com Secrets and I read it for the first time when I was laying on a security line in the prone for 10 days. My M16 in my right hand and .com Secrets in my left. And that's how I read. How I read .com Secrets the first time. And that thing was so loaded with dirt by the end that I just gave it to some soldier at the end of it. I probably should have kept the thing, but honestly, that's how it started. And I just started implementing like an animal, much like you. And started getting good at the funnel game. And one day I looked at myself and said, I'm going to try and be the best funnel builder in the planet. Yeah.
Are you almost up there? Do you consider yourself one of the best?
I don't know that I'm ever going to put that badge on.
No, somebody's going to award you that badge one day, right?
No, I'm not going to talk about that cake. That's Russell's cake.
Yeah. So let's break it down then, because I mean you've built like way more funnels than anyone should build funnels. Like you've built way too many, and you found success with a lot of them, right? Obviously, a bunch of them end up failing and whatnot, but now you're kind of at a stage where like you kind of have a formula. Like you know whether it's going to work, or you're pretty sure whether it's going to work or not. Yeah. What's that formula? Let's break it down.
Sure. It's a 3-day event, so I'll try and get.
Yep.
The biggest issue that I see when people start building funnels is that they believe that the success of the funnel is based on the pages. So you have to redefine what a funnel even is. Funnels existed far before the internet ever did. If somebody has sold something ever, they have a funnel. And the funny part is that most people's funnels suck because they didn't build them with intent. One of the first guys I was building funnels for. This has happened multiple times now, but I was building these funnels for this guy. And I went out and it was so fun, man. It was like the first big win that I had. It was pre-Clickfunnels or working there for me. And right after they left beta, and I was a hyper user of it. I was totally that guy to Clickfunnels support. I mean, I was like bugging them to death, dude. I like literally 1 to 2 questions a day, the hardest questions. That's why they knew who I was when I walked in the fucking line. Because for a year I was like that guy, and I knew that guy, whatever. And anyway, so I built these funnels for this guy, and this has always happened. Day one, I'll launch the funnel, and they'll call and they'll be like, "This is so sick! look how many sales are coming in. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy cool. And then day 2, they'll call and they'll be like, wow, this is still a lot of sales. Oh, all right. Wow, I said I was going to be like this. And then day 3, they always call and they're like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. And the first time that ever happened to me, I was like, who's going to want less sales? Are you guys dumb? Click. And I would just hang up. And the CEO kept calling me. I didn't answer for like weeks. Pretty soon the dude called me back just furious. And he goes, dude, turn off the funnels. And I was like, I've never heard of anybody wanting less sales. And he said, you don't understand. You're going to bankrupt us.
Oh.
Until that moment, I had never thought, it had never crossed my mind that a funnel is not a business.
Yeah.
And what people start to, I'm just trying to redefine what the word funnel even is, because that's like really what it comes down to. The internet, that's just a method. When I was doing door-to-door sales, I was the funnel. It didn't require something on the internet. A funnel is merely an offer and it's a sales message at the core of it. That's all. The internet, that is just a method. And so what people have to understand is, like, if they want to be a great funnel builder, it actually means they have to be a fantastic sales message writer. I didn't want to when I realized that, I was like, crap, I don't want that to be the answer, right? They have to be fantastic at offer creation. I mean, we went and we ran the top 100 funnels inside of Clickfunnels, and we wanted to see what they looked like. And we looked at them, we started looking through them, and without question, hands down, no contest, they were all the most butt-ugly funnels I've ever seen in my entire life, dude. They were horrible looking funnels, but they were the top 100 converting, the top 100 revenue generating. And there's huge lessons inside of that. And I think people need to redefine what it is. Because this is honestly what happens, right? Somebody goes and gets Clickfunnels, they go and they log in, and then they just start like building crap, or they funnel hacked somebody else, and now they're doing exactly pixel by pixel what someone else has done. And that's great. That's great. But it's completely setting up for failure. My first info product, I went and I created this info product. It was still in college, in the Army, all this stuff. I was spending all my discretionary time building this product. And just because of all the things I was doing, it took me 8 months. And I was so excited. It was like, this is my first product. My first product. I was like, oh yeah. My wife's like, is it gonna work? I'm like, yeah, babe. Oh, that's my thing. I'm your man, right? Yeah. The next question we have to answer is, what island will we buy, right? Oh, what's up, right? I was like so stoked about it, and I went and I spent 8 months building this thing out, and I launched it. Crickets.
Yeah.
Nobody bought it, and it took like another 4 months just to get my first purchase. I was like, that's funny. This product has never existed, and it's never solved what's been solved before. Why isn't this working? And I realized you have to understand that one of the biggest issues why people will not be successful, there's several reasons. I'm trying to talk around it for a second, but this is really it. They believe that a funnel is something that's on the internet. Yeah. And that, number 2, it has to look good. That's garbage. That's not true. They also believe that the product is the thing that makes it sell. That is garbage. I brought 1,800 people through this process now as a coach personally. And I will tell you, every single time, the issue is that somebody's like, well, I can't launch it because I don't have a product yet. Like, man, you don't understand how a sale works then. Yeah. You understand what actually, you think the product is the mechanism that actually gets cash in your pocket. It is not. In fact, it has nothing to do with it. And so when I left Clickfunnels December 31st, understanding that, I left December 31st of this last year. January 1st, I made a registration page. January 2nd, it was a Tuesday. I was like, you know what? I should probably write a script. January 3rd, which is a Wednesday, I was like, you know what? They should probably, somehow they need to be able to pay me and log into something. So I made an order page and a members area, and I put something in there. And then January 4th, I launched and had 27 grand in my hand by the end of that 4th day. I started with no product, no sales script, no product, nothing. Like, there was nothing. And there's no like cloak and dagger thing, right? I mean, I let them know, like, look, this is not launched yet, but you're getting early bird or whatever. But I made sure, I was trying to illustrate a point to a lot of things and trying to develop my own case study and I've done it multiple times now. And you watch the way Clickfunnels launches stuff, and you watch the way the best marketers launch things. who cares how good the product is if nobody buys it? So you spend all the time perfecting the sales message, and only when people are so stoked that wallets are like flying through the air, oh, I need to buy this thing, then you make the product.
Yeah.
It's completely the opposite of what most people do. They just go log in and start clicking crap. They're like, that has nothing to do with how we get money.
It's funny because it's funny you say that, because I mean it was the same with Funnelytics. So when I did the first launch of Funnelytics, you know, I had the advantage of building kind of this goodwill with this free mapping tool that I built. But then on the back end, which is the analytics, like what I did is I just built up this buzz, built up this group, gave them value, and kind of sold them on the idea of what the analytics would be. Like, by no means it was beta. Like, the first group that got in, they got a lifetime deal, but it was like, it wasn't even beta. It was like alpha, you know, like it was very bare bones. But we still made $208,000 in the first 48 hours. I had to close the offer because you're right. It's not about the product. It's not the product is great and it's getting better, and all the time, like, you have to fulfill on your promise, of course. But at the end of the day, it is about the offer and the messaging of that offer, and making sure that these people realize, like, I was watching a video of you the other day, and of course Russell talks about this all the time, but it really comes down to, do they understand that this vehicle is a new opportunity that they've never had before? Yeah. And do they understand that their beliefs that they currently have are wrong, right? And how do you rebuild those, right? Yeah. So, okay, so now that you've studied all these kind of funnels, you've launched, you did this for yourself, and like, holy shit, $27,000 in 4 days, like literally from nothing. It's like, okay, I'm onto something. I know that this works. Like, what's next? How do you then optimize? How do you then kind of take it to the next level when you look at your funnels? Because, okay, I know I've got an offer. I know I've got a sales message. Sweet. Yeah. Works. There's a connection there. People are resonating with it. What's your thought process after that? Where does your mind go?
Well, what's interesting is, like, there's this logic that we'll all start to believe, which I'm sure, I mean, I've done it. Like, it's funny, man. Like, so I used to go into Clickfunnels, right, at like 6 a.m. I had to work on my own stuff from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then when Russell would come in, I'd work on with his stuff. He sat right there, Yeah. We sat back to back. And the way my monitor reflected, and the way, because he had 3 monitors, I had 2, and my left one, it reflected his face. So it was like, even though we're sitting back to back, we could see each other in the face. So like, we would try not to like make eye contact. And I was like, freaking Russell Brunson, like, don't tell him you almost put a poster up in your room growing up. Don't tell me you almost put a poster. Like, be cool, man. Be cool. I was like a Sandlot. He's like, don't be a doofus. Don't be a doofus. You know what I mean? Anyway, but like so I would work like crazy on all these other projects going on. And I remember with all the products I was building, all the things I was putting together at ClickFunnels, I'd come back home and there was like 8 other projects, 8 other clients that I personally had as well in the evenings. I just hustle like crazy. And I remember there was this moment I had where I was like, I have been doing this for like 4 years, where I say yes. And for such a long time, I was equating opportunities with value. And so I was like, the more opportunities I have, the more valuable I am. Right. And it's like, especially when you have the first successful funnel, that tends to be what I see happens next, is they'll be like, well, if I have one funnel that made this much money, 208 grand or whatever, I should have 208 funnels to make 208 grand. What more? And you go crazy.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Like, that's the answer, clearly. And then while you focus on one, all of them are failing, and then you go back to the others, and that one goes better, and all the rest go down. Like, it's just the way it works. And like, anyway, so I was at Funnel Hacking Live, and I'm going full circle with this, but anyway, I was at Funnel Hacking Live just this last year, and I had this crazy unique opportunity to sit down with Tony Robbins on a couch after Funnel Hacking Live for a while. That's the reason I'm wearing this hat. He was wearing this hat. I was like, oh, sweet hat. And he's like, thanks. In his voice, thanks. Thanks, it's awesome. I was like, it is awesome. He's like, I love this hat. I own them. He owns part of the company or whatever. And I was trying to ask myself, like, how can I have larger cojones in this exact moment? I was like, how can I have big balls right now? I could pitch Tony Robbins. And so I did. And
You did.
And I was like, hey man, I'd love to build a funnel for you. And we had done products with him in the past as when I was Russell's funnel guy, but I was on my own at that, by that time. And he said yes. And I was like, oh, crazy! This is ridiculous. Okay, cool, sounds good. Tell me about the company. Tell me about this. And I'm running through all the frameworks in my head of things I know I need to make a successful funnel. And I start asking, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and it's fascinating because as the next few months went on, and the time came up for me to actually go chat with him, I realized it was wrong. Like, it was not I should not go do it. And I got some serious crap for that.
What do you mean? Why?
This is what I mean. So I realized I shouldn't go, and people were like, you're a freaking idiot, dude. You drop everything and you go after what this guy's giving you. I was like, no. No. The first thing people have to realize when they build a successful funnel is that they still don't have a business.
Yep.
Right? And the worst thing they can go do is begin to start building another revenue funnel, because the current one will die.
Yep.
And so that's exactly the position I was in when I realized that. I had I think 2 revenue funnels at the time, but I was treating literally, so at the beginning of the year, this is what it looked like. I launched, and it was similar, actually. It's like 200 grand came in so fast. Boom, huge. But then my systems, my businesses are just systems, right? Were like nothing. I mean, I was treating every support ticket different, every fulfillment different. Pretty much every sale was the same, just because I'm a funnel builder and bringing in people to buy is what I'm good at. But like all the fulfillment, all the shipping, everything was different. I was the business. There wasn't one. I was it.
Yep.
And what I started realizing was, like, anytime I take my attention off of something else, my revenue would drop to the level that the business was at. And since there wasn't one, if I walked away, that thing was going to fall. And so this is like the hardest thing I did. I voluntarily reduced my revenue, and I pulled it back so that I could have time to start building up all the systems. I got an actual support person with a ticketing system. I got an actual fulfillment, fulfillment house. I don't touch any of the products now. I don't touch, you know what I mean? And I started putting all these things in place. And now for the last like 4 months, we put $1 in, we get $2 back out. And it's just how it's been. Yep. And I spend maybe an hour a week on it, maybe. This month has only been an hour. But like, it's been funny because I'm no longer the company. And what I realized was that part of the reason why, besides the fact I was just saying yes to everything and thinking the opportunities were value, the thing that I started realizing was, like, I cannot be the company. I have to be external to it. There was one of my favorite semesters in college. There was there's this semester where I went was pretty unique for this. There's only 3 places like this that do this in the nation. And what was fascinating about it is this professor walks up and he goes, hey, you have no classes the entire semester. The only thing you're required to do is start a company and make as much money as you physically can. That's it.
That's a dope class.
Yeah, it was a good class. That was like the best one ever. And people knew that I was aggressive. I was learning. I'd already gone through basic. I was learning to become an officer at the time. I'm kind of a go-getter, but like I also have an obscene fascination with marketing, and people knew that about me. So they voted me in as the CEO of this whole thing. I was like, crap. It was for a food business, dude. I don't know how to cook. Okay, all right. And MREs are a blessing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how. I don't make it. I was like, I'm CEO of a freaking food business. I don't want to do this. And we were signed that. And I realized, like, crap, about 3 weeks into it, and we did pretty well. We ended up making $2 to $3 grand a week from poor college students. And I realized, though, I was the linchpin. I was literally the bottleneck of all communication, all decision-making. There was nothing that would happen in the company without first going through me. And I realized that about 2 weeks in, and I was like, this is dumb. This is dumb. I should not run things this way. And so I went and I created the marketing department, the finance, supply chain, created a head for each. There wasn't any instruction from anybody on this. They just said, good luck. And I created systems inside of it and made it so that 80% of all the questions got answered by that department head. And then what I did is I decided that I would stress the system. So at random times throughout at the busiest moments where we just had customers all over the place. And it was super, I mean, all hell was breaking loose, right? I would just disappear. I literally would go hide somewhere. And they'd be calling me, they'd be freaking out. What do we do? What do we do? And I would just go disappear. And I would go hide somewhere and I would just watch them. Because what I was trying to do is I was trying to see if the systems I had built could withstand and be self-sustaining on their own. And the first few times I did it, I mean, it was terrible, man. It was so bad. Things were falling out. I mean, it was awful. And what was funny though, then I'd come back and I would see where the holes were and I'd go patch up that system, figure out what contingencies need to get put in place there, And pretty soon I had it down so well, I could just not even show up and we were making more money than when I was involved, which is very funny. And so the same thing I would say is true for when you're going in. It's the reason I had to turn this guy down, which was weird. And anyway, that was weird. But I had to, because everything I had built for the previous 4 months would have failed because there was no system, there's no business, there's nothing else. So I would say the next step is you got to learn how to take the idea that you've just proven. Did the market tell you that you have a good idea with their wallets, not their mouths? And when you know you have a good idea, there's two things that have to happen. You have to develop the idea into a 2 comma club idea, because an idea for like a comma is very different structured than an idea at the 2 comma level. And then in tandem, you have to build the systems in place to be able to withstand the revenue so that you're not the business. And that's really what I do.
Interesting. That's number one, very insightful, because I think a lot of business owners, the biggest problem I see in this world is that people come with the idea of like, okay, I'm going to build a funnel, or I'm going to make my money online, and I'm going to bring in this revenue, and they forget that, like, okay, you have to run a business. Like, okay, you're still serving customers, and you have to build this business behind it, right? Yeah. That's the hardest part. Most people don't want that. The attractive part is like, I'm putting in $1, I'm making $3 back. Sweet, I'm happy. It doesn't work that way, right?
What's funny is I feel like honestly, to me, I feel like the business building part is the easiest part. Some really easy ways to put that part together. The hardest part is figuring out what the heck the market wants to pay for. When you know what they want to buy, and when you know the crazy competition that they like getting their solutions from, like the red ocean, right? This is where I like to go to get my problem solved with this. Once you know what that is, and you clearly understand that, it's all about just trying to figure out how you can become different, not better. And when you become different, not better, and build a business and a market and a product and a marketing message around that, that's like the ticket, man. As soon as you got that, the rest of it is pretty easy.
What's your favorite part about building funnels? Is it the copywriting? Is it the figuring out the product? Is it figuring out the actual like sequence? Like, where does your mind live and breathe? What's your superpower?
Offer creation, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, and what makes the way it could. So here's what happened, right? I was the 2 comma club coach, the only one for the first program that we launched about. I developed the original program at 675 students. It's a lot of people, right? And I was the only guy. And I was like, holy crap. And well, I started seeing all these patterns. I think I'd be an idiot if I didn't, right? There's a lot of people. So I'd see their offers, I'd see their funnels, I'd see their marketing messages, bam, 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 bam. Just like thousands of these things, that I've run through. And what's fascinating is that if I can get somebody to develop the sales message and offer at the same time, that seems to be one of the keys. Because what it does is it allows you to design a category that's never existed. And when you can design a category that's never existed, and it's really easy to step in as its king. There's a great book called Play Bigger, and it basically teaches that whoever can define a red ocean's problem the best, we assume that person has the best solution too. So if you are like, hey, I'm going to go design a blue ocean, if you can literally describe the issue with the red ocean the best, they will assume you have the best solution, and it is easy to become the category king of this new category. It's like Clickfunnels, right? They're easily the category king of funnels, and you got all these people trying to fight over the scraps. of what's left of the funnel category. But Russell and ClickFunnels is such a dominatory king. No one, even with funding, I mean, no one can take them out.
Yep.
And it's like ice cream sales, right? If you've read the book, The Dip, fantastic book. It talks about ice cream sales. Literally, number one is chocolate, and it outsells number two by 10x, which outsells the next one by 3x, which outsells the next one by boom, 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 smaller, smaller, smaller. Right? Fortune usually, favors the brave, and if you can go in, anyways, that's really where the big key is. If it has more to do with marketing positioning, actually designing the market itself, not freaking logos or color scheme or garbage like that. I didn't have a logo forever. That means nothing to a sale. People are so distracted by that. Branding without a category is it's garbage. It's BS. Doesn't matter. That's why I get so people are like, what are you talking about? The funnel doesn't have to look good. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the sale. All right, don't care about it for a long time. Like if you can learn how to design a category, create an offer that gets people excited enough to leave the red ocean security and come over to your brand new category, and a sales message that gets them off the couch and gets them walking over there, that's like the key. The rest of it is very formulated.
Interesting. I want to ask you a quick question related to, and this is a little bit biased, and I kind of want to ask for myself, but the idea of selling continuity versus selling offers, right? And I again, when I was watching a video of yours, you kind of really honed in on that concept of like selling continuity is really hard because people instantly think, oh, I got to pay for this for multiple times, and versus when you sell an offer, even though the offer may be more expensive. Like for us, when we sold our lifetime deal, even though we were selling it at $600, it's instantly easier than selling something at $99 a month. Right? If you package it properly and whatnot. So what have you learned about selling continuity? Because of course, you kind of need continuity in your business if you want to sustain. You can't always keep selling the same thing over and over.
Who said if you don't have continuity, you don't have a business?
You know what I mean. What have you learned from working at ClickFunnels, but even selling continuity yourself, that you wouldn't recommend people to kind of go down that path, or you would, or whatnot? Because obviously all SaaS businesses are built around the concept of MRR, right? So what have you learned from that world?
I shouldn't say that continuity is hard to sell, it's expensive to sell. And so I'm trying to think through, there's tons of stories with that. But, continuity is best sold when it's actually not the focus of the sale. For example, Funnel University, right? We knew that if we just said, hey, get on Funnel University, it's, what is it, like $69 a month or something like that?
Yep.
The sale of that would be ridiculously low. Instead, what we do is we focus the attention on something else. So we say, buy the starter package for $20 and we'll give you the first month for free. So literally, continuity is part of the offer.
Right.
When you do it that way, it's way easier. Like when you think about the way ClickFunnels sells, I don't know that there's actually any ads driving to ClickFunnels.com at all. They spend $500,000 a month in ads on Facebook. It's something like that.
Jeez.
And none of them go to ClickFunnels.com, right? And it's because of how expensive it is to sell continuity, which is funny because even with ClickFunnels, right, the cost to acquire was like $120 when it was running to there. And all these VC firms were like, you're spending $120 to acquire a customer? And in SaaS world, that's actually really good. Yeah. And so they're like, why don't we give you $100 million, go load it up with a whole bunch of customers? That's awesome. They're like, no. Russell's like, no, we turn those off. Like, why would you turn off those ads? Right, those are great, holy crap. And he goes, because that's $120 of mine.
Yeah.
We'd rather do it smarter and use concept called a funnel. We actually make $60 every time someone takes a ClickFunnels trial. And they're like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. You're like, well, we sell a book and the book has an upsell and then that has an upsell. And then at the end, then we'll suggest they go to ClickFunnels. And they're like, no, that doesn't make any sense. There's no way that's going to work. And you explain it again and explain it again. Finally, they're like, if that is how that really works, this is going to change business as we know it. And he's like, yes, that's why we're here. Right? so regardless of what you're selling, the model's still the exact same. You package up. My favorite model is to package up like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, however many months you want. What's the price point for your bundle?
Right now, right now I've been selling lifetime license at
For what? I can barely hear.
$5.95.
$5.95, and what's your monthly fee?
When I go and actually do a monthly fee, it'll be $99 a month.
99, and you're selling for $5.95. Cool. Okay. So
I'm buying 6 months. I'm basically selling. The way I'm looking at it is very simple, right? I'm based on where we are with our business and based on where the analytics is and where because we're still in beta. And I know there's this idea of beta. I was speaking to the CTO at Clickfunnels when I was at Funnel Hacking Live. And he kind of mentioned like just go and whatever. But what I've been doing in order to fund the business is selling this lifetime license with the mindset or the concept that I am betting that people would pay the lifetime license as opposed to stay for 6 months, right? If I were to sell this as a continuity, they probably won't stay for 6 months. Therefore, I've lost them forever. So instead, let me sell them a lifetime license.
Yeah.
And so far, it's been working.
Yeah. So I'll just combine those two. So stop selling Funnelytics straight out is what I would do. Right? Russell wants to sell funnel hacks, not ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating because $97 a month. Actually, it's $297. He's getting them the full amount. He's getting them 6 months up front. Like $1,800. They're going to spend $997. They basically prepay for 4 or 5 months of ClickFunnels up front by buying something else. That's the key with continuity. So I would create an info product, right? A training thing. When what was really going on is now we have 6 months to train somebody how to be successful with ClickFunnels. So by the time it stops, they kick over into the monthly billing. That's where all the revenue comes from that allows ClickFunnels to be explosive. Is that they're buying a training course that just happens to include 6 months of ClickFunnels with it, but it's with the intent to teach them how to be successful with the actual thing. So that honestly has always been the best, right? So we don't sell Funnel U. We sell a welcome package and you just happen to get some Funnel U. We don't sell supplements on a monthly thing. You happen to get a guide and you happen to get 1 month of the supplements for free and then it kicks over to monthly after that. And that's the easiest way to sell any continuity regardless of industry.
So what's next?
To give you ad dollars to outbeat everybody else. Otherwise, because you can then risk $997 on a sale to get a 6 month person, whereas everybody else, they can only risk $97 a month. You're going to squash them. You will dominate with that difference, and that's the reason why it works so well.
Interesting. What's next for you? I mean, you worked at ClickFunnels for a while. You decided to stop December 31st. You built your own funnel. You built your business. You worked 1 hour a week. This month 1 hour.
Not that thing.
Huh?
I worked my face off.
So where do you vision your trajectory? What are you trying to really accomplish for yourself? What's kind of the dream that Steve doesn't talk about to most people?
Yeah, no, I've kind of become the accidental category king of offer creation. And it's because of how many of them I see as a coach, right? And having built as many funnels as I have, it gives me a rare view of what actually does work and what offers work and what funnels match with those offers well. So it's been the offer creation category that I'm moving into. So I got several things that I've been, anyway, the book's coming, the events are coming. There's a lot of stuff on the way with it, which is really fun, but it's been so freaking awesome. I just got another message last night from a guy. He's like, hey man, I'm moving into my $1 million house since your thing. I appreciate that. It's so cool. And it got featured on Facebook as a successful business and my album's going in the Billboard magazine. And anyway, it's crazy cool stuff. That stuff happens more and more frequently now. If people just do the process, it's very formulated. Which is frustrating to a lot of entrepreneurs who want to be creative and put their little spin in it. But it's super formulated.
Nice, man. That's awesome. What are you up to with Trey?
Looking at his webinar. Same exact thing I'm talking about. Sales
Nice.
message and offer.
Get it dialed in. Well, next time you'll have to come up to Toronto to Funnelytics headquarters, and we can chat there. Man, Steve, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you've shared. There is one quick question that somebody asked, so if you don't mind, I'll just throw that to you. So somebody asked, how do you describe the red ocean problem the best? Is longer better? Does it need to be spread out over multiple touches, or could it be simple as a single sentence? I'm not quite sure I understand the question, to be honest.
Me either.
All right, well, on that note, elaborate on that question, please do. Otherwise, you know what? Look, you've been so generous with your time and your knowledge and your wisdom. Where can people find out more if they want to dial in their offer, if they want to try to, just get more from you? What's best?
2 places. I make a lot of free stuff because I know what I do is not. There's not actually that much documented stuff on, so I've just been pumping the internet with content lately, which is where you've seen stuff. And salesfunnelradio.com is a great place to learn more about the stuff. And then I think one of the nicest training wheels you could ever put on to learn this game is affiliate marketing, because it removes a person's distraction with thinking they need to create a product and lets them focus on how to actually sell. And so I created a free program called Affiliate Outrage. So you can go to affiliateoutrage.com. It's completely free. I'm not pitching anything in there, but it's 24 days when it goes through and it teaches you how to actually sell other people's products. Just because someone else made the product doesn't mean you don't need to go create marketing. You should. So it's good training wheels.
Amazing. Steve, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time, and enjoy your time in St. Louis.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care.